We are flipping the pyramid. Flipping the pyramid. Flipping the pyramid.
Hi, and welcome along. It's flippingthepyramid.co.uk is the website. Welcome along to the reality check with Bluebus, and it's Monday evening once again. I hope you're all good. Hope you like that tune, XTC. Sensors working overtime from blimey, long time ago. I think about 79 that was out, something like that. But yeah, definitely sensors are working overtime. Very apt song for our times indeed. We all putting up with this nonsense and managing to cope day by day with the constant bombardment of propaganda media and bullshit and all the rest of it. And yes, it's finally over, guys. Yes, it's finally finished. It's over. The Olympics, yeah. For research purposes only, I decided to watch the closing ceremony. And I thought I just wanted to see what on earth has been sort of happening at that stadium. I haven't really paid that much attention to it. But I wanted just to see. I didn't see the opening ceremony. I tried to avoid that, but I'm just interested in some of the symbology I've been seeing around the site and the pictures I've been seeing from the stadium, etc. So I thought I'd watch this closing ceremony just to see what sort of what angle these guys are, coming from. And apart from it being on the surface a musical show, if you look a little bit more into the kind of types of music that was being used, or even to some surprise, I was surprised seeing some artists there perform, in particular Muse, but there you go. But some of the stuff I saw was bordering on the satanic kind of what you call like marching towards the flame with the pyramid in the distance. You have the phoenix above the Olympic flame as well. All this is on show. You had Annie Lennox coming out on looked like a pirate ship, dressed as a sort of dark demonic figure. Apparently it was to honour the works of Bram Stoker of Dracula. I mean, come on, there's more nicer things you can honour than some dark figure of Dracula marching towards the flame, if you like. The whole thing really looked like some big satanic ritual to me at one point, and I was kind of quite surprised and taken aback by it all. And those pyramid signs on top of the stadium, I mean, the way the camera angles were showing you like a perfect kind of like pyramid, flame, phoenix, marching people who were like, demonic, devilish, satanic types into this sort of flame. It's a classic flipping satanic ritual in my book, but there you go. And I was kind of taken aback by it all for a moment, but the show itself, I mean, it was, the usual sort of, like I say, candy floss stuff, but the deeper stuff was kind of disturbing, really. And looking into symbology and stuff as I do, I knew from the start this stadium was being erected for some kind of like a gathering of energies, but not of the good, but of the kind of like the way forward for the, if you like, controlling elites. To control us even more, to get us all sucked in here, because we have this big, massive uplifting of energy in the country, and everybody's going wild because of the Olympics. But it's all just basically buying into your paradigm which you live in, which is what you accept as being normal. And they're just reinforcing that. They're not making you think outside anything further than just what they want you to think and feel. They are manipulating the energy here. They are controlling it, and using the energy of music as well, and get a few pop stars in, keep everybody happy. Everyone's happy and jolly. But the whole thing really, the Olympics movement, as we've talked about many times in here, the whole thing does stem from quite a sort of dark history, really, when you look further into these things. But yeah, it's finally sort of over. And as we see in the news today, there's a story coming out of Reuters, just sort of giving people the reality check on the Olympics, so to speak, and saying, don't forget, you're still in austerity, just to remind you, you're still a slave. And where does I link that story? Here we go. Olympics After Olympics boost, Britain faces austerity to 2020, according to Reuters here. Now, I'll stick the link in there because I know I can post the links in the chat now, so I'll do that in a sec 'cause I'm on a different browser. But the story coming out of Reuters, it says, after the party, the hangover looms. London's Golden Olympics may soon be a distant memory as Britain returns to the reality of its economic mess and years of more belt tightening. And again, it's just one of these stories to lift you up, and then this one to bring you down into the real reality you have to survive in here. Forget about everything else. It's now about tightening your belts and putting up with the bullshit. It says here, a guy here, what's his name? 2012 games lifted, blah-de-blah-de-blah. It says, quite frankly, it doesn't say the guy's name, it says, quite frankly, the Olympics is helping to paper over the fact that we are on the verge of a depression. Oh yeah, said Simon Lee, senior politics lecturer at the University of Hull. If the economy goes into free fall, then politicians desperate to get re-elected will discover that they can do much more radical things in the national interest. And blah-de-blah-de-blah. I'm not going to read it all out because it is a bit of a sort of, again, hit piece from Reuters. It's coming out of these, controlled media outlets who monitor everything, lock it down, make sure it's just going to hit the right note, and make sure you're all brought back down with a bump. But yes, Britain still in austerity to 2020, according to this. I'll stick it in the chat if I can manage to fiddle with this. That's the wrong one. Just bear with me, guys. Now, tell me if that works. If you can click on that, then I'll start posting them in, because I didn't think they would work. But if they do, great. We'll carry on. But yeah, just like I say, another example of bringing you back down to reality in their paradigm, in their, what they want you to, go up and down with the energy. But like I say, I put myself through 2 hours last night of more than 2 hours. I sort of walked away from it. I just can't physically sometimes sit there in front of the TV for too long before I have to get up and walk away. But like I say, I just wanted to see what angles and what sort of things that were being used to, subliminally posted in there. And there was quite a few things that made me think. And like I say, the next Olympics is in Brazil. And that's the next city to be plundered and, if you like, economically, brought down by the Olympics. Lord knows how much it's going to cost the Brazilians. I know it costs the UK taxpayer over £10 billion, and we'll be paying for that, no doubt, through austerity measures as well. But the poor old Brazilians thinking they're getting a good deal. This parasitical virus known as the Olympics, which goes around, from city to city every 4 years, sucking all the resources out. And even, now we've seen the new, these 2012 games with massive security in place. So I'm sure in Brazil they'll have a similar scenario in 4 years' time, if at all any Olympic Games are actually going to take place in 4 years' time. I was thinking this as well. The way things are going, the way we're heading, the way things are separating, if you like, the way people's awareness is growing and growing and growing. Who knows? In 4 years, it's a long time. And the way things are heading at the moment, we are seeing a growth in people's understanding of things and awareness. So this time, maybe, who knows? They're trying to build everybody up into, to be successful, you have to be an athlete. I mean, good for you if you're an athlete. That's, all good for you. If that's what you want to do, that's your chosen field. I'm not having a go at sports and people getting fit. That's not what I'm saying here, but it's your choice. That's what you want to do. That's great. But not everybody wants to do that. That's not the yardstick, if you like, you measure success by being able to be a good athlete. The way you treat other people, the way you are, treat others as you expected to be treated yourself, so to speak. This is the sort of values that people should be sort of looking at more. And yes, if you want to exercise and be fit and whatever, that's great. That's up to you. That's your choice. But it shouldn't be, that's it. To be successful, you just have to be able to be a good runner and a good athlete. You have to be able to think as well. Think for yourself. They don't tell you this on the interviews you see. Just be a good athlete. Hard work, hard graft. That's what it takes, guys. You need to exercise the minds more and understanding who we are. That's what we need to be doing. And yes, all the other stuff is just a sideline. It's a distraction. And that's all it is. It's really, sucking people in so powerfully with its image and its sort of energy, and the propaganda being used obviously by the mainstream outlets to, just pump that up even more. People are just getting really sucked in and misguided and thinking, let's go and to be successful, I just have to be fit. I just have to, it isn't about that. It's just like I say, taking you away from who you are, and that's why all these sorts of things are such a distraction. But for me last night, I thought I'd just watch this and just see what, the interesting enough the conversations in work were today, and they're all about the closing ceremony. And because I happened to watch it, I thought, should I mention the demonic stuff? Should I mention the dark energy and freak them all out? I don't know. But yes, it's just again, it's where, as the old saying goes, where attention goes, energy flows, and everybody was, how many billions around the planet were watching that last night. And the subliminal, like I say, symbology placed in there, just keeping that sort of, if you like, keeping you thinking it's just okay and it's all nice and jolly, but it's much, much deeper than that, believe you me. But and like I say, the economies, where the Olympics have been in the past, you go to Greece, for instance, and we see the terrible economic strife and terrible conditions that people are having to put up with in Greece, and their Olympic Park lies in ruins. The money that they paid for those games, they're still paying back now, on top of all the other debt they've incurred through the criminal EU and their little cohorts, bringing down economies to suit their own needs, and the greed and the corruption at the top of that pyramid. And poor old Greece is suffering still massively now. But they were, holding the Olympic Games a few years ago, and look where they are now. So, these games are, very, very, if you like, people if they just knew the truth about the the corruption, the corporations, everything that's going on with it, just that alone would put you off, and everything else is just propaganda on top. But anyway, I'm going on and on and on and on and on about this, but like I say, it's over now. We can stop talking about it. Yes, we can move on. Watch the London Olympic site go into complete and utter, meltdown, whatever, ghost town, and corporations will come and buy it up, whatever, and take what they want from it, and try and sell some of it, and that's how it'll end up. It'll end up just a ghost town for the rich, if you like, with special events going on a few years down the line, just like we saw with the Millennium Stadium. How much did that cost to build, for goodness sake? Best part of nearly £1 billion or something ridiculous. It's basically a massive tent. That's basically what it is. It's not much. I mean, you can't even see where the money went there. No one questions that, but now it's run by corporations. It's O2 Arena now. So the big corporations have moved in and are, making lots of money on top of the money that we paid, the taxpayer funded, and the corporations are just coming in and just taking what they want, basically. So, anyways, I'm waffling on. I want to move on from the Olympics because the stories that, again, with the distraction technique of the Olympics, people are not looking in other areas, etc. And some stories that have been coming out from Egypt and Israel. I did mention a story last week about a load of Egyptian soldiers were killed with border clashes in the Sinai. This comes out of Press TV. I don't know if anybody's seen this, but last week, where's the story gone? There it is. Sorry. The military forces of the Israeli regime have occupied parts of Egypt's Sinai Peninsula amid tensions in the Egyptian territory. So there's a lot of stuff going on out there, and it looks like it's building up, because 6 gunmen were also killed today in that region. At least 6 men have been killed in fresh clashes with the Egyptian security forces in the Sinai, amid tensions which continue to rise in the peninsula. And last week, gunmen killed 16 Egyptian border security guards and injured several others near the Sinai border with the occupied territories. So they're ramping up tensions in that area. Not only, tensions have already been quite sort of, if you like, high in that region, because I know they're blowing up, and there's been terrorist attacks on the the gas pipeline that runs from Egypt to Israel, or the oil pipeline. I'm not sure which one it is, but I know there's been attacks on those to stop the flow from Egypt to Israel. So tensions are high, but there seems to be more going on out there. And like I say, last week 16 people were killed, so security forces, and today another 6 apparently have been killed. But these are sort of rebels, if you like, that have been taken out. But the whole area seems to be in some sort of, like I say, sort of state of alert. I mean, Israeli media outlets have confirmed the presence of the troops in the area, quoting a spokesperson of the Israeli army, but Egyptian officials denied possibility of Israeli forces entering the territory. The Sinai Peninsula belongs to Egypt, and the Tel Aviv regime claims it has moved its forces into the Egyptian territory to counter armed groups and the flood of African migrants into the occupied Palestinian territories. It says human rights activists in Israel have condemned the recent measures taken by the Israeli military against the African migrants who have been the target of violent attacks by Israelis in the past weeks. The Israeli regime announced on June the 3rd that migrants who crossed into the occupied Palestinian territories illegally could face up to 3 years in detention. It says Human Rights Watch has criticised the Israeli regime for the new piece of legislation, saying Tel Aviv punishes asylum seekers for irregularly crossing into Israel in violation of their basic rights. So tensions building, tensions mounting out there. But the whole of that area, I mean, it's expanded out again to Syria, just not far from there. This whole region is under sort of, constant sort of, but what's the best way to describe it? Death and destruction. In a state of war, state of terror, state of lockdown. The people in that area obviously are living under that. The civilians, women and children who are around these areas. I mean, Syria in particular, we've mentioned many, many times last week, went into the details of that. Obviously, that's still ongoing. We hear even more gruesome reports coming out of Syria today. Bodies being thrown out of, apartment buildings where, so-called jet fighter was shot down again. Lots of horrific things going on. Most of it, obviously, propaganda coming out of the mainstream. And, they are pushing for regime change in that, in Syria. Israel and Egypt, however, have always had a little bit of a sort of going on. But remember, Egypt is, still heavily financed by the US. The regime that was brought down under Mubarak has just been replaced by the same thing, really. We don't see much coming out of Egypt. The so-called uprising, like a co-opted uprising to make people across the world believe that freedom had been done. It's an absolute joke. Those people are still living under the same regime, just with a different face on it. That's all that's happened. So these people are getting, no difference. They might get a little bit more bread, a little bit more money, but something just to sweeten them for a while. Certainly wouldn't, bankrupt the government to help the people, so to speak. But the army and the militia out there and the people who are running these countries are all funded by the US and by Western powers. They're receiving massive amounts of money. And I think Egypt, we've said this before, are the second funded nation next to Israel, who America fund, who give money to. So, there's an awful lot at stake in that region. So, when I read these stories, I mean, people are just, it seems to me like ritual killing going on here, for no apparent reason. These bloodthirsty psychopaths who, want to, control and dominate us using fear and all sorts of tactics, lies, bullshit, all mixed into one, and trying to make sense of it all. Hi! Sensor's working overtime, guys. Good link back to the song, and that's another link because I'm going to play another tune. So come back in about 5 minutes, and I'll get into something else. I want to talk about different sort of, get into a bit of health foods as well, not in a massive way, not to bore you silly, but interesting stuff going on there. Some interesting stuff I found out the last couple of days. But come back in about 5 minutes, and I'll play this. See if you like it.
Flipping the pyramid. Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid. Flipping the pyramid. Flipping the pyramid.co.uk.
Flip the pyramid.
Turning that pyramid on its head.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flip the pyramid. Flipping the pyramid.
Flip the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.co.uk.
Flipping the pyramid. Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.co.uk.
Flipping the pyramid. Flipping the whole paradigm of that hierarchical system on its head.
Hi and welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that. Nice bit of relaxing music on a Monday evening. Thought I'd give that a little go. And welcome back to the Reality Check with Bluebus on Flipping the Pyramid, as the jingle says many times. Flipping the Pyramid, here we are. And welcome along. We're here Monday evenings between about 8 and 9-ish, sometimes going a bit longer, depends on how many things I want to get in tonight, but also don't forget to check out the website for other shows as well. Go to the radio tab at the top, click on that, and you'll find all the archive shows. We've got other shows through the week as well. Wednesdays we've got a music show with Ian. That's if you like punk music and all that kind of stuff, and check it out, it's really good. If you like more music from Red on a Friday, then there's Conscious Beats with Red on a Friday, but also on Thursday evening with Cookie, it's the Virtual Shamanizing Show. Check that one out between 9 and 11. That's Cookie every Thursday between 9 and 11. And on Sunday, although he's been away for a few weeks now, Keelan, I'm sure he'll be back this Sunday with the Wide Shut webcast between 8 and 9. That's all on Flipping the Pyramid. But like I say, welcome back. And just saw a story today which linked me into something I said last week regarding the possibility of food price increases because of all this drought occurring in the US. And over here we've had the opposite. We've had a lot of rain. And a story coming out of the Daily Fail says just exactly that. That's what I was saying last week. You can almost sort of plot where these stories are actually going, because they're just going to increase the prices of food, obviously. It says food prices are expected to surge after the worst drought in the US for half a century destroyed 1/6 of the country's expected corn crop over the past month. So we're going to see some increases in our sort of general food bills, which are not already, increasing by the week or the month. Every time you go shopping, it's getting more and more expensive. To eat healthily these days costs a fortune. If you don't grow your own, and you have to, you are, relying on the supermarket. But good tip is to go and check out a farmer's market or something near you if there's something a bit more local. Because you get a much better value if there's anything in your area. See if there is, and if you can get there, try and do that. I've started to do that a little bit around here, try and source food from more wholesale rather than retail type establishments, and saving myself a couple of quid. It all helps to not be giving the man all of your money. But like I say, with the drought and the conditions in the UK, more with the rain, which is affecting fruit crops and possible root crops who've had too much water, who suffer from water damage in the summer when they don't need as much rain. Obviously, that's going to affect our food supply as well. If you're reliant, like I say, on the supermarkets, but. I've went just to go off track a little bit, but like I say, if you want to go and forage for your own stuff, I'm lucky around here. The blackberries and all of that stuff are beginning to ripen up, so I'll be out with my little bag or something in the next week, and hopefully getting a bit of free fruit that just grows wild, which is great. So if there's anywhere around you, you can I was talking about this the other day regarding dandelions and things like this. Using nature and using what's around you to heal yourself and also feed yourself. It just takes a little bit of basic research online. Even you can put in dandelion and you get 100 different things you can do with a dandelion, or all sorts of plants that are just growing wild in this country in fields and hedges. If that's the sort of that's the sort of thing I'm getting into at the moment for some reason. I'm sort of being directed towards this kind of like, I want to sort of discover what's around me and not just be told what's available, by the corporations. Expand my awareness into the sort of, that kind of field. And, I have a little bit of knowledge in it, but not an awful lot. But, something that I like to sort of get more involved with myself. And round here I'm in the perfect environment. So, and also found a couple of apple trees the other day when I was out with my daughter, and we did a bit of scrumping of apples. Hey, I don't know who they belonged to, but it wasn't the garden. It was just on some estate somewhere we went into, and we just helped ourselves. It was great, and got 2 massive big bags of apples, which I don't actually eat apples, if I'm being honest, but I gave them to some people I know, and they're going to make some nice apple pies and things. So again, just things growing around you which you can discover, and it's like I say, the amazing dandelion plant, for instance, amazing, and I've got them growing wild in my garden here. So I didn't manage to get out yesterday and do what I said I was going to do, but they're still there. They haven't gone away, so I'll no doubt get out there clipping and getting some of the leaves and trying some of these teas and things, and just see what they're like, and I'll let you know. But I do drink a lot of herbal teas, so I'm sort of accustomed to sort of tastes that maybe some people aren't, who like a lot of sugar drinks or whatever. I don't like sugar drinks, if I'm being honest. I never have done. Sugar in drinks for me is like, bleh. It just makes it taste horrible. Even when I was a kid, I never liked it, so I've never done it. So I've always, I reckon I'll like this. I'll sort of get into that, but I'll keep you posted. But so the drought. Anyway, I'm going off track here. The drought in America is, pretty bad. Even though I say it with a sort of happy voice, but at the end of the day, what else could you do? You can either be doom and gloom, and that's something I'll get into later. Putting humour into things, I think it's very important, but not obviously sick humour and stuff that is, putting other people down. But the drought is pretty bad out there, and there's a lot of states affected, and it is going to increase our food, but our food prices. But the one here, which I did see, was sort of linked to food, was the fast food nation, and how shoppers are developing a taste for American foods. That's over here in the UK, including squeezy cheese, Hershey's, and Jell-O. All the perfectly packed GMO crap that has been served over the pond is now, making its way, into mainstream supermarkets, into the aisles where you go down every day. And it says British shoppers are set to get a taste of the USA as Tesco follows Asda's lead into launching dedicated space for imported American products in its stores. It says a report by Trade magazine, The Grocer, revealed that Tesco, the UK's biggest supermarket chain, is to install fixtures especially for brands such as Hershey's Chocolate and Jack Link's meat snacks, along with side pretzels and squeezy cheese, as customers' taste buds tingle for their favourite American treats. Oh, come on. The news comes a fortnight after Asda unveiled its own dedicated shelf space for snacks from the USA in 100 of its UK stores. And it says here, Chris Silcock, Asda's category director of Impulse. What's a category director of Impulse anyway? Said that sales of chewy candy brand Tootsie Rolls were 4 times higher than the average for a confectionery line. Hershey's and Reese's sales were up 25% since the confectionery base launched. Eurofoods Brands, which distributes Jack Link's products, told the grocer that the opening of specialist American confectionery shops in the UK had helped fuel a growing appetite for US brands. Well, it's all crap. It's all shit. Don't eat it. It's amazing, again, coming out of the Daily Fail. Apparently we're all lusting after these chocolate candy delights, and we can't get enough of them. I don't think so. They're just putting them in your face. I've no idea what the content is of these particular, chocolates and candies or whatever. But I'm sure they'll be GMO based if they're from the USA. So eat away, guys. Enjoy yourselves. If you can't get enough aspartame and enough, fluoride or whatever, or have some of this as well. So again, it's just another, as I've said many, many times, another example of feeding you up with crap, getting you used to the sweet tastes. They sweeten your palate. They love to do that. They love to sweeten the child's palate. Lots of sweet things. And as you know, there's lots of studies done now regarding eating, getting a balance of acid and alkaline within your body. And if you have too much acid, that generally means illness and disease. So it's out of balance, and lots of meats and things can cause acid. So if you eat a lot of meat, that can do it as well. But again, it's about maintaining a body's balance with the pH levels. But this is what these sorts of foods are doing. They're knocking out your system. They're knocking out of balance your physicality, if you like, your well-being, and you don't even know it's happening. And then suddenly, because if you're eating a very processed food diet anyway, such as ready meals and this kind of thing on a regular basis, and you're also eating the candy and the chocolate, and you're drinking the drinks, and you're just basically on that's the level of obesity we have. That's the evidence, the obesity we see. The amounts of people who are now vastly overweight, and not even vastly overweight, just a few stone, 3 or 4 stone overweight maybe, but they just become used to it because that's their diet, that's their lifestyle. But it's slowly creating almost like a ticking time bomb for ill health, severe ill health in the future, because the body's so lacking of nutrition. It just can't cope anymore. But your guide to did a story come out about alkaline forming, what's our top alkaline forming foods, because the alkaline we need the balance of, obviously, and eating things like plenty of sort of fruits, things like cucumbers, sprouts, dates, string beans, almonds, nuts, things like that, raisins, lemons, fresh coconuts, coconut oil. Hey, that's something I use quite a lot. Plenty of root vegetables, that sort of thing. That's the sort of diet we need to be sort of balancing all of that other shit out with. And there's nothing wrong with eating that if you want to eat it, but again, it's the balance you have to find. It's very difficult, especially in children. Like I say, where the palate has always been sweetened and artificially sweetened now in so many ways. It's hard pressed now to find any drink on the supermarket shelf, any fizzy drink or sugar drink without sweetener or aspartame or that sort of derivative, which is not good to ingest. But the shelves are full of them, absolutely full of them, and they're making it so difficult now to even purchase anything which doesn't have this in it. It's not impossible, but I think it's just getting away from that sweetness. It's almost like deprogramming yourself. Do you need the sweetness? Do you need to have a sweet drink? Do you need to have the sugar all of the time? We all do crave sugar. We do need a balance, again, like I say, but it's the constant, it's the amounts in which are being consumed which are out of balance, and because they're pushed and pushed and pushed, and they're so cheap and they cover everywhere now, like I say, you walk in the supermarket, they're everywhere. It's very, very difficult to not be taking part in this, but again, a balance is okay. I find myself drinking a lot more water these days. Just water from the tap. I know it's not fluoridated around here, which is good, but I know it still has other stuff in it, but I just find myself, I just don't want anything sweet in my drinks anyway, and mostly in my food, if I'm being honest. Although I do have a partial little nibbles on the chocolate now and again. But again, it's balanced, it's not all the time, and that's where we need to be, not just in our physical bodies, but also in our spiritual sense as well, in our the way we think and how we balance things up. And it's a body balance and it's a mind balance, mind body balancing together. It's not easy to achieve, and I'm certainly a long way off achieving it, believe you me, but at least, you're on that kind of right road, and something is fundamentally wrong with the system that's being given to you, with the choices you have, because they're not really choices. I mean, look, they're just going to put in these bloody shitty candy bars from America whether you want it or not, and they just come up with some bullshit story to say people want this. Of course they are. They're money people. They just want to make money. They don't care if you die in the street, if you die in the gutter from eating too many of their poisonous products over the years. They don't care. So they just make this stuff up as they go along to get you in there to buy it and to consume it, and it's criminal. It is criminal, because if you think about the way the hypocrisy works with people who say smoke, and the way smokers are demonized in society, and then this is allowed to go on, the constant poisoning of your food, and the no nutritional value, creating just more customers for big pharma, when you become ill, when you suddenly can't take any more of these toxins, and then you become basically a victim of the pharmaceutical industry, and this is how it goes on, guys. This is the game. This is how it's being played, and we're seeing through it, and we're doing other things now. We're seeing other alternative ways to look after ourselves, to be more self-managed, to make sure that we aren't being sold something that's going to do us harm. We know how to look for these things now, and we spot the signs. We have our inbuilt bullshit detectors going 24/7, and I think a lot of us now are doing this and are not being bored, sucked into it. But it does take a bit of reprogramming, because old habits die hard, and I know that with sort of eating meat for a bit, then not eating meat for a bit, then eating meat for a bit, and then not eating meat, and it just goes. I keep flip-flopping all the time, but I think again it's it's habits that you've had since you were a child, and it's not something you can easily just switch off, because I find myself looking at things thinking, yeah, it's all wrong, but again, programming, it's difficult. I do like nice food sometimes, and if that has meat in it, sometimes I'll eat it, but other times if it hasn't got meat in it, it's nice food, I'll eat that too. Basically, I'm a greedy git, and I'll eat anything put before me, but but if it tastes nice, it's going down, so to speak. So that's how I am. So again, it's working it yourself, and no one's perfect. We all know what's going on. We're all informed, but again, it's just slowly trying to adapt, not too quickly. Because if you make quick changes, I've found this out to my disappointment. If you make very quick changes, eventually you end up going back to what you were doing before, because you weren't ready for it. You jumped in too quickly. You need to sort of condition yourself up to a point where you can either sort of wean off, or just come to a point where that's it. Then you've thought about it for quite a while and you want to do it. But if you just instantly change, you'll find you revert back to your old habit generally. So it's different for everybody. Like I say, that's just my personal view on this. Everyone's different, but to make changes too fast can just take you back to where you were a few years later and depress you and think, oh my God, I was so good back then. I didn't eat meat for 5 years. I was such a good boy. You shouldn't beat yourself up over it. I'm talking to myself now, but yeah. So it's just a question of balance again, and being aware and knowing what is good, what is bad, and there's plenty of information coming out in the just in the normal regular news to highlight what the problems are, and by being able to see through these stories and looking at them in a more critical way. Again, don't accept everything you're being told. Just because somebody says it doesn't mean it's true, and that includes me. That includes everybody. You have to go and confirm for yourself, either through looking, researching, or even experience. If you've got the experience as well in something, that's cool as well. So it's about not taking just what's being given to you, and accepting it. And this is what we've seen with our Olympic Games thing. It's just given to us. It's given to we accept it. If we go against it, we're bad people, or we're arrested, or we have to agree. We have to agree. They're getting everybody to go along with the same, the beating of the same drum, the same harmony, the same frequency, the same energy. Yes, energy. So that's what it's about ultimately, and we are stuck in this, and we're trying to, if you like, weave our way out, find our little exit, and dismantle ourselves from this corrupt system, this criminal system, which is just steamrolling over us, and we just stand back in disbelief at some of the things that I see anyway. And again, it's about standing up for yourself and not being pushed over, not being easily led down that path. And it's like I say, it's kind of sad to see so many people sucked in with that energy of the Olympics recently. That did disappoint me really to a degree. I thought, but there you go. I mean, that's the power of the propaganda and the media for you. But anyways, I was talking about foods and gone back onto the Olympics. So yes, it's alkaline forming foods versus acid forming foods. It's very important to get the balance. And I'll stick this link in because I think you need to read this, because I've waffled around the story really. I haven't really sort of gone into detail with it. So I'll stick the link into the chat. So check the story out for yourselves. And it's again, it's just interesting information that you can use. And again, it's just by being aware. If you do have any kind of problems, physical problems, whatever it may be, could be something to do with the imbalance of the acid and the alkali in your system. And it's information again that isn't told through your doctor. You go to your doctor. I'm not feeling well, doctor. He prescribes you some pills. He doesn't inspect what your diet is, or potentially if there's a reaction somewhere. So it's about you have to almost do this yourself, because if you go to the doctor with it, sometimes, I know people who've spoken to doctors who've done research, gone in, and the doctor's been absolutely amazed because he never knew either. So, it's information. These guys aren't even looking at themselves; they're just going in. They're just in the matrix, just filling out the form. There you go, basic examination. Throw you to the hospital, goodbye. There's no real sort of, if you like, individual sort of healthcare thing going on. But why would there be? Why would they want a healthy, fit population who could think for itself? Why would they want that? Of course they wouldn't want that. They want you all nicely dumbed down into little automatons who just get on with it and don't question it. So, interesting. But I need to play some more tunes. So I did a basic selection tonight of music, and there was one track, this one, I want to play you this one. Now, I apologise for, if you can tell me what he's singing about, and without obviously Googling it, because I have no idea. I just like the harmony in this and stuff, and I think it's kind of, it's called Reckoner anyway, by Radiohead, off an album they released free of charge actually, which I got for nothing, off their website a couple of years ago. So have a listen to this, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes once I've worked out how to work all of this kit again. Hang on, where's it gone? I need a different mouse, but anyway, there it is. Okay, I'll be back in 4.5 minutes, guys. Hi, welcome back. That was Radiohead. And it's bang on 9 o'clock, and you're with Bluebus on the Reality Check Monday evening. Going on for a little bit longer tonight. Got a couple of other bits I want to squeeze in. Interesting story I saw coming out of where is it? Again, it's a Mail. I saw all these today on the Mail. I couldn't believe it. It's the Facebook camera that can recognise you every time you walk into a shop. I don't know if anyone saw this story today. Shoppers could soon be automatically recognised when they walk into a shop using a controversial new camera. It says called Face Deals. The camera uses photos uploaded to Facebook to recognise people as they walk in. This technology's been around a while. I think that, again, it's just another, reminder that this is where it's all going, guys. Whether you like it or not. It says shoppers who agree to use this system. Yeah, I doubt, again, it's just one aspect of it, so you can opt out of this, but it says, which has not been developed with Facebook will be offered special deals. It says a promotional video created to promote the concept shows drinkers entering a bar and then being offered cheap drinks as they are recognised. Hey, we know who you are. There you go, 50p off. See what I mean? See how they do this? See how they manipulate people? Facebook check-ins are a powerful mechanism for businesses to deliver discounts to loyal customers. Yet few businesses and fewer customers have realised it. It said Nashville-based advertising agency Red Pepper. Yeah, Red Pepper. What did Bill Hicks say about people who worked in advertising and marketing? What did he say about him? Kill yourselves! I don't care how you do it. Suck on a tailpipe, whatever. But yeah, Red Pepper. They're already trailing the scheme in firms close to their office. It says a search for businesses with active deals in our area turned up a measly 6 offers, and it goes on. But what I'm saying is the fact that they have put this link in this story, again, it just goes on from what I was saying about biometrics in the last couple of weeks, face recognition. You'd be walking into any public building, and mostly now anyway you are being filmed, but now it's just becoming, because it's now linked to social networking and Facebook, it becomes even more acceptable to people. I did have a discussion with someone the other day actually about, because they said to me, I never met this person before, I just happened to be around someone's house and someone was there and we're having a discussion, and this person said they didn't mind being filmed, or they didn't mind being they didn't care that people had information on them. And I just set out a very basic example. I said, well, if you're going to write a text message, can I read it? And they said no. And I said, well, that's what it's, there you go, you've just answered your own argument. You do mind people reading your stuff if it's private and confidential. It's your stuff. You gave away one little freedom, one little chink away from that where they can do all of this stuff, ID you. Then you're just giving away your entire freedom. Wherever you go within this matrix Orwellian nonsense we live in, wherever you go, you'll be either tracked in a shop, you'll be tracked from space, you're tracked with your mobile phone. You will have not to ever think again. They will do everything for you. You won't, you'll walk in, you won't even know what you want, and they'll give it to you because they'll know before you do. I mean, come on, this is where it's going. We've got to think, these things are sold to us in such a clever fashion to get you to believe that it's going to be some benefit to you because it helps your life in some shape or form. It isn't. It's just another dismantling of your freedom. It's another chink away at it. It's another step forward for them and one step back for us, because we lose our freedom. We lose our, who we want to be, where we want to go. It's our choice. They don't ask for permission to do any of these things. They just do them anyway. And this is what people need to get, a handle on. Facebook really has been, and all the social media sites have just been another way in for these people to just, just digitize and control everything, database, log it. We said it many times, and it just continues to just get thrown at you through, your local mainstream media, telling you, when you walk into a shop now, oh, isn't it good because they'll recognise me and I'll get a discount. Oh dear me. Think. There you go. And another story, which I we've been saying this for a long time. This comes out of the Natural Society. It says, "Whoops! Study accidentally finds chemotherapy makes cancer far worse." Oh, you think so? Finally coming out. This is in the mainstream as well. I did see this in a paper in work the other day. So it says a team of researchers looking into why cancer cells are so resilient accidentally stumbled upon a far more important discovery. While conducting their research, the team discovered that chemotherapy actually heavily damages healthy cells and subsequently triggers them to release a protein that sustains and fuels tumour growth. Beyond that, it even makes the tumour highly resistant to future treatment. Finally coming out to say something. But obviously these kinds of sites and Natural News, etc., have been saying it for a long time, and it does make sense. Radiation is, bad for you, obviously, but you wouldn't think that with the, what's been going on this last 18 months or so since the Fukushima disaster. radiation now, they've been making it out to sound like it's something that's healthy. But as we know, it's highly toxic and it's very poisonous, and it will kill you very quickly if you have too much of it. So what are we doing? What are we thinking here? Absolutely crazy. But it says the news comes after it was previously ousted by similarly breaking research that expensive cancer drugs not only fail to treat tumours but actually make them far worse. The cancer drugs were found to make tumours metasize and grow massively in size after consumption. As a result, the drugs kill the patients more quickly. So again, we've known this information, but it's a crazy situation. You think, well, why are they publishing this in the mainstream? Why is this coming out now? People who are under these sorts of treatments who don't know any better are probably thinking, oh my God, it's crazy. It's like I've said before, it's like a bipolar thinking. It's crazy. It just beggars belief. But anyway, I'm ranting on too much about that, and I wanted to end tonight on a lighter side of doom. I saw this article from Zen Gardener, which I thought was a very nice article, and basically to sort of the power of humour. A very good article, and I'll stick it in the chat. And it's basically just saying what I know, and I think we all know. You can't get drawn into the lower energies of this. You have to rise above that, and humour and being a little bit, if you like, standing back, watching it rather than being involved, is a kind of way of dealing with things. And people use humour not to be disrespectful, but just to. There's different types of humour, of course. There's humour that wakes people up. We've seen this with these great, past comedians such as Bill Hicks and George Carlin, who can use humour in a way that gets you aware and awake and get those brain cells firing away, get those little, get you to think and use humour in that way. So it's a very clever tool if it's used in the right way, and a tool for the good, not for the bad. And obviously people have twisted humour. There's the awful sick humour that people get sucked into, which on occasions has made me laugh now and again. But this article here is very, very interesting, because it goes on about a philosopher, Ludwig Wittgenstein, said a serious and good philosophical work could be written consisting entirely of jokes. It says, despite the buffoonish imagery that comes to mind when one considers the joker, the clown, or the pie-in-the-face comedian, humour is more than mere silliness. It is an advanced intellectual means of developing new perspectives and coping with extreme circumstances. It says, a maltreated animal has two potential responses to an abusive master: attack to stop the abuse, or cower, flee to avoid it. He cannot disarm the bully with a witty remark or ironically imitate his master behind his back for his own amusement. One of the first government actions in Nazi Germany was the establishment of a law against treacherous attacks on the state and party that made anti-Nazi humour an act of treason, and there was a reason for this. Research has shown that humour is the most effective means of preventing the indoctrination of brainwashing. Yay! Which I thought was really cool. And it goes on, but I won't go too much into it because it's pushing on in time. But let me post the link before I go. But thanks for listening, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I'll be back next week, same time, between 8 and 9ish. But come back tomorrow evening, not tomorrow evening, sorry, Wednesday evening, for Iron's show, and don't forget Thursday evening for Cookie, that's between 9 and 11, and then Red on Friday evening with his music show, Conscious Speech, check that out, and Keelan on Sunday. But you've been listening to flippingthepyramid.co.uk. My name's Bluebus. And it's been the reality check, and I'll leave you with some music. Like I say, I'll be back next week, and I'll leave you. What should I leave you with? Oh yeah, I'll play out with my usual, and I'll speak to you all next week. See you later.
Flipping the
www.flippingthepyramid.co.uk. We aim to discover the truth about our world and the issues it faces.